So we've just seen Eala get her second clay court win of the season, taking out Pavlyuchenkova in a close straight set to release a pretty decent straight set. It's probably her best win so.
What just happened in Madrid might be one of the most exciting things we have seen from a young player on the clay this season. Eala walked onto that court today as the underdog, as the younger, less experienced player facing a woman who has been doing this for decades, and she walked off it looking like she owned the place. Straight sets. 6-3, 6-3. Against Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova. Let that sink in for a second. Because if you know anything about Pavlyuchenkova, you know that scoreline does not happen by accident. That is not luck. That is not a fluke. That is a player who showed up with a plan, trusted it completely, and executed it point by point in front of one of the most knowledgeable tennis crowds in Europe. And personally, I could not take my eyes off it. Now, before we get into what this win actually means and where things go from here, we need to talk about who Pavlyuchenkova is, because I think some people watching today might have underestimated what Eala was walking into. Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova is not a player you beat by accident. She has been around long enough to have seen every trick in the book, used most of them herself, and when she steps onto a clay court, she carries with her this quiet, dangerous confidence that only comes from years of competing at Grand Slam level. She does not rush. She does not panic. She finds the tempo she wants and she pulls you into it like a current, and before you know it, you are playing her game and wondering how you got there. That was very clearly the plan today. Right from the first game, Pavlyuchenkova was doing what she does. Keeping the ball short, controlling the pace, making Eala uncomfortable by denying her any kind of clean hitting position. There was a tactical intelligence to everything she was doing, and for that opening stretch of the match, it looked like it might just work. She took that first game, and there was a moment, just a brief one, where you could sense the crowd wondering whether the experience gap was going to show. But then something shifted. And this is the part of the story that I think matters most, because what happened next tells you everything you need to know about the kind of player Eala is becoming. She did not tighten up. She did not start second-guessing herself or playing safe or retreating into a shell. She looked at what Pavlyuchenkova was doing, she made her adjustments, and then she went to work. Eala started stretching the court, opening up the angles, forcing Pavlyuchenkova to cover ground that her legs simply could not cover at the pace Eala was demanding. She was hitting into corners that were there for a split second and then gone, and she was finding them over and over again. The volleys to the open court started landing. The wide balls started pulling Anastasia completely out of position. And what had looked like a tactical stranglehold at the start of the match began to unravel, point by point, game by game. By the time the first set was deep into its second half, there was a completely different energy on that court. Pavlyuchenkova was still fighting, still competing, because that is what she does, but the control she had in those early games was gone. Eala had taken it from her. And she closed out the first set 6-3 in a way that felt almost inevitable by the end. But here is the thing that really stood out to me, and Eala talked about this herself after the match. The serve. She had spent her preparation period coming into Madrid specifically working on that part of her game, and today was the payoff. When Eala's serve is on, it is not just when her free points. It changes the entire shape of the match. It means her opponents are never comfortable on the return, never able to set themselves up for the kind of attacking ball they want, always a half step behind from the very start of the rally. Pavlyuchenkova could not neutralize it. She tried different return positions, different tactics, but nothing stuck. And once Eala locked into that serving rhythm around the middle of the first set, the match had a different feel to it. Entirely. She was no longer just competing. She was controlling. The second set was where Eala really showed her mentality. Because after winning the first set convincingly, there are two ways a young player can approach the second. You can ease off slightly, settle into the lead, maybe let your opponent back in without even realizing you are doing it. Or you can go the other way entirely. You can come out even harder, make the statement even bigger, take the margin you have and stretch it until the match is beyond any doubt. Eala chose door number 2. She came out for the second set with more aggression, more intention, and an absolute refusal to let Pavlyuchenkova find any kind of foothold. 2 games up immediately. And the body language from the other side of the net told its own story. But Pavlyuchenkova did not fold, and I want to give her real credit here, because this is what separates great players from everyone else. She dug in. She scrapped. She pulled herself back to within a game of Eala at 3-4, and suddenly the atmosphere in the stadium shifted. You could feel it, that collective intake of breath, that sense that maybe this match was not as over as it looked. You could see the crowd leaning forward. And then Eala answered. Calmly, directly, decisively. She did not change what she was doing. She did not suddenly start trying to hit winners she had no business going for. She just kept playing her game, kept trusting her process, and she closed it out 6-3 again. Same scoreline, completely same composure, completely different intensity of moment. And that, to me, is the most impressive part of the entire performance. Anyone can play well when everything is going their way. The test is what you do when the match tightens, when the crowd gets into it, when your opponent finds a bit of a run, and you can feel the momentum shifting underneath your feet. Eala passed that test today, and she passed it with a maturity that honestly surprised me. Now here is a stat that adds another layer to all of this. This is the 4th straight season in which Eala has won her opening round match at the Mutua Madrid Open. For years in a row, on the same clay, in the same city, on this same stage. That is not a coincidence, and it is not just good scheduling. There is something about Madrid that unlocks something in this player, and the results over the years back that up completely. She has spoken before about how much she loves this tournament, loves the conditions, loves the atmosphere here, and you can feel that affection translating into performance when you watch her move on these courts. She is not just comfortable here. She thrives here. So, what comes next? Because the tournament keeps going, and the next challenge is a big one. Elise Mertens. 2nd round. And look, if you are a fan of Eala, this is the match you need to mentally prepare for, because Mertens is a genuinely difficult puzzle to solve. On the surface, there are similarities to Pavlyuchenkova. Mertens is tactically sharp. She understands how to control rallies. She knows how to use her experience to unsettle players who are still finding their footing at this level. She is not going to hand you pace to work with. She is going to make you generate your own power, make you fight for every ball, and make the whole match feel like an uphill climb even when the scoreline looks even. But there is one key difference between Mertens and Pavlyuchenkova, and it is an important one. Mertens finishes. When she gets the ball where she wants it, when she constructs a point to her pattern, she does not wait for an extra ball. She does not give you a chance to recover. She puts the ball away with a precision and a coldness that has ended a lot of promising runs by a lot of talented players over the years. That clinical edge is what separates her, and that is what makes her such a genuinely difficult opponent regardless of who you are or what kind of form you are in. So what does Eala need to do? The serve needs to stay at the level it was today, full stop. That is non-negotiable. If the serve is working, it keeps Mertens off balance on the return, it takes pressure off the rallies, and it gives Eala cheap points at the moments she needs them most. The moment the serve dips, Mertens will pounce, and she will not look back. But the other area, and this is the one I think Eala's coaching team will be focusing on in training before this match, is the forehand. Mertens is the kind of player who identifies a weakness early and returns to it again and again throughout the match until it breaks. She will probe, she will test, and if the forehand is not consistently reliable under pressure, she will find it and she will use it. Eala needs that shot firing on all cylinders because a strong forehand combined with the serve she showed today gives her a genuine chance to move past a player of Mertens' caliber. Take one of those weapons away, and the match becomes a completely different proposition. That said, I keep coming back to something I watched in that second set today, something in the way Eala carried herself when Pavlyuchenkova pulled back to 3-4, and the match was suddenly alive again. There was no fear in her. No hesitation. She looked like a player who had been in tight moments before and come through them, and who fully expected to come through this one too. That belief, that deep, unshakable confidence in your own game at the critical moments, that is not something you can coach directly. That either lives inside you, or it does not. And it clearly lives inside Eala. She is going to walk into her match against Mertens with everything that came from today still fresh. The memory of the crowd, the scoreline, the feeling of having dismantled an experienced professional in straight sets. That kind of win does not just build confidence, it reinforces it. It tells you that every hour of practice, every adjustment you made, Every moment of doubt you push through, it was all worth it. And a player who carries that into a match is a dangerous player indeed. What today proved, beyond the scoreline, beyond the stats, beyond the tactical breakdown, is that Alex Eala belongs in this conversation. She belongs on courts like this, in tournaments like this, against